Okay, so I added my lip color, I added these absolutely gigantic lashes, and I added a little bit more glitter, because I figured why not? If my lashes are this big, I might as well coat myself in glitter too. So me personally, I don't think I would want to wear these lashes in my daily life, or if I was just wearing lashes for something, because they are huge. They are definitely more of like a like showgirl stage lash. If someone was doing like a lot of like really intense movement, or if it was like somebody in Cirque du Soleil that had like a lot of acrobatics they were doing, I certainly probably would not want to put someone in lashes this large, or maybe lashes at all, because I wouldn't want to do anything that would maybe put them in any kind of like danger or like inhibit their vision. But if it was like one of the musicians, or if it's just somebody on stage that doesn't have that much movement, they could be perfectly appropriate, I think, because I think even just like me backing up a little bit from further away, they don't seem as quite as intense as they do when I get way too close to your face to be wearing lashes this long. But what's nice about wearing lashes, so these aren't totally like staying down all the way. They were fighting me a little bit, but they're good enough for now and for some photos. They do cover up the mistakes that I made with my eyeliner, because now that my lashes are this big, I think it pulls the focus back to like my eyes and like the center of my face, and less about like this kind of stuff. So that's why it's like, I think a lot of times with these like intricate stage makeups and things, we spend so much time trying to make things really, really perfect, but realistically someone could be like so far away from you. Like you could be like all the way in the back row, and like this is what they're wearing. Like no one's ever gonna see if your like eyeliner isn't perfectly even, or something like that. So it's not saying that it's like necessarily like it's okay to like be lazy with your makeup or like sloppy with it, but I think a lot of times we spend so much time focusing on things being like absolutely precise and perfect, when we're given like all of these colors and all of these things that we need to like put into makeup. It can get really overwhelming, and really frustrating when things don't come out perfectly the same. But we just have to remember, like it's this stuff is not meant to be seen. Like no one should be this close to your face if you were wearing this much makeup, most likely, because it's not meant to be seen from that close. It's meant, you know, to be seen from further away. That's why like the lines are so strong and the shading is so strong, and my lashes are the biggest lashes I've ever worn in my entire life, just so that you could see it from a lot further away. So it should still like look nice, like if somebody is up close, because you know there's going to be photo shoots, there's going to be promotional things, you might have like meet and greets and things, but you do have to remember that like things need to be strong, they have to be prominent. If it's not totally perfect, no one's probably really gonna notice. Which again, it doesn't, I don't think it like gives you permission to be like lazy or something like that. I just think it's like permission to not be like so hard on yourself about it. Just because I know I was kind of like, oh, like this side, like that's great, like that turned out really nicely, and then I go over here and I was like, oh god, like that's not totally what I wanted to do. But then you just have to like wait and think until you get until like the final moment when you put everything together, and then you kind of realize like, oh, okay, like it still comes together. Like yes, like that side might go a little bit longer than that, maybe that side's like a little bit shinier, but ultimately it looks even. Other than my like crazy eyelash that keeps like popping up, it's a complete look. It would definitely read from really far away, and I think it fits really well into some sort of like dance, circus, acrobatic hybrid world that this is sort of living in. And my final step would be, I'm not going to do it now because I'm not leaving this on forever, but definitely to use like a strong setting spray over it. So me personally, I like to use aerosol ones. I really like Krylon's fixing spray if it's something that like really has to stay on. But if you have somebody who doesn't want you to be using an aerosol around them, which you might run into working in like theater, just because a lot of people don't like a lot of aerosols being sprayed, I think using like Urban Decay's like All Nighter is really good, and Final Seal, and barrier spray by Mayron. I was like, there's one more that I really like, I can't remember. Like I think those are all really good ones. I think what's important is just to make sure that you have like something to set all this in, because you have to think like, yes, like your creams and everything are set, and like everything I use, like the setting spray to apply or like the mixing medium to apply, like that's all set, but all these like powders and stuff, technically, unless I put like that final shield of like setting spray over them, they are not going to be set. So you want to make sure that you really like lock everything in if you can. You don't have to be like this close to your face to set it. I see a lot of people do that. An elbow length distance, I think, for every setting spray, not just the aerosol ones, is probably better. If you do have one of the ones that isn't an aerosol and it's like a spritz, especially with like Final Seal, the ones that Krylon makes, I would definitely recommend like spray it on the back of your hand first, just because sometimes the little nozzles get clogged, and you don't want to accidentally spray yourself in the eye or spray your client in the eye. I sprayed myself in the eye with it. It's not fun, and I imagine that most setting sprays like that would hurt a little bit because it's mostly alcohol, right? That's like drying everything down. So I think it's just like a good courtesy to others and to yourself to try it like on your hand first. Make sure that the thing, like the little nozzle, is like clear before you spray it, just so that way you're getting like a good even spray and it's not just like little droplets everywhere. And make sure to like let the air clear if it's like an aerosol before somebody opens their eyes. Like cover up your phone, cover up your glasses, sunglasses, whatever, because it'll add like a little film over things the same way that like a hairspray or something would. And then same with like if you use like one of the more liquidy setting sprays, I like to give it a second to kind of like dry on somebody's face, so just in case like any little droplets did get near their eye, they don't open their eyes and potentially get that into their eyes, because speaking from experience, it is not fun, and I do not recommend doing that. So hopefully this helped make things make a little bit more sense as far as like dance and like circus and just kind of like a more like creative theatrical makeup goes. Obviously it's kind of got elements from like some of the like silhouettes and like color placements of like Cirque du Soleil, and some of sort of like the really like bold eye shapes from ballet, and like the shimmer of ballroom, so it kind of like ties into everything that we learned with this unit, or that goes with like the lecture I made that's also on these channels about ballet and like the dance world. But ultimately any kind of like larger theater space, these same kind of principles could absolutely work with like the way you're like layering colors to make things more pronounced, and the same with like this like glitter and like highlight application. You could certainly use that with just like regular beauty makeup too, and I think a lot of times people think that like the techniques you use for theatrical makeup you can't necessarily tie in to regular makeup and into beauty makeup, but I do a lot of beauty makeup, I do a lot of theatrical makeup, and really we borrow things from each other all the time. I feel like as far as techniques and ideas go, it's just about, a lot of times I think it comes down to like the amount of makeup that you're putting on, not necessarily like the like die-hard like tried and true like techniques. So definitely like if you're not doing like crazy theatrical stuff like this all the time, there are probably like little bits and pieces here and there that you would be able to kind of like pull into like your everyday life or your like regular life makeup, or even vice versa. And one more quick note, I didn't talk about, I did use a lip stain for my lip color, just so that way it was more long lasting and a little bit more durable than a traditional lipstick. But if you didn't have a lip stain, I will usually do a regular lipstick and then I put like a tissue over somebody's mouth and then I powder it down with just like a translucent setting powder, and that kind of helps like seal that in place a little bit more, because again, the main idea with this kind of makeup, you want it to be durable. You want it to be as sweat-proof as possible. Nothing can technically be sweat-proof, but the more you kind of like powder things down and you use good, strong like anti-shine primers, and you use good setting sprays, that's really going to help things hold up. And then it's also just about things being like as vivid as possible as well. So I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial about dance and Cirque du Soleil and everything in the world of kind of like more like fantasy theatrical beauty makeup. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it.